Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming. This is my late review of Watch Dogs 2. I played it on the PS4. It's also available on the Xbox One and PC. When it comes to the story of Watch Dogs 2, I really enjoyed it. I liked it way more than Watch Dogs 1, but let's face it, the first Watch Dogs was really kind of a stepping stone. In Watch Dogs 2, you play as Marcus, a young hacker known as Retro, who has been flagged by the new CTOS 2.0 system for all sorts of crimes he's never committed. He's deemed a criminal risk, and well, that has really limited his life. So in order to try and change that, and basically as a giant screw you to Bloom, he teams up with DedSec in order to basically bring down Bloom, the creators of the CTOS system. DedSec is a group of hacktivists, and they basically create a computer network using their followers. Their followers download an app, and that allows DedSec to access their electronic devices purely for processing power. They won't use it to gather information about those individuals who have downloaded the app. Now, I gotta say, I think this story is really interesting, and it's kind of disturbing because it's kind of Black Mirror-esque in that it's something that you could easily imagine happening. A company basically promising protection while secretly gathering all sorts of private information about you and then selling it, or using it to manipulate things behind the scenes. Not that unbelievable, probably happens to an extent right now, but the game takes it a few steps further, but not in an unbelievable sense. So as far as the audio goes, I think it's a good sounding game, but there are issues. For whatever reason, the audio, it doesn't cut in or out, but it gets quieter or louder. It just happens inconsistently. And unfortunately, this problem affects both the sound effects and the music, as well as the actual voiceover work. And so there are times where you can't hear what's being said. Fortunately, I had the subtitles on, so I was able to know what was being said, but I normally don't have them on. It was just kind of default on, which worked out, but I'd rather be able to just hear what is being said. Okay, so when it comes to the gameplay mechanics, well, it plays in a lot of ways very similarly to Watch Dogs, but better in every sense. The driving's better, the running around's better, the shooting's better. You can parkour to an extent. There's a ton of stuff to do, and it feels like there's maybe not quite as much in Watch Dogs, but since Watch Dogs, most of it was just grinding shit out, I think that's kind of better that there's less if it's not grinding shit out. Watch Dogs 2, though, does have plenty of stuff to do, plenty of stuff to help you progress, plenty of stuff that you can skip if you don't want to do it. Now, I mentioned the parkour system, and I do like it because it enhances the movement of the game. It makes it easier to get around. That having been said, it's not like it's the greatest parkour system in gaming. There are a couple features in this game that I didn't really like. I felt like the cover system in this game was pretty broken. There were times where, had it worked better, I would have definitely not gotten spotted and shit wouldn't have turned into a massive firefight. Also, and while it's a smaller annoyance, it is an annoyance nonetheless. You can get a boost for your vehicle, and you can use it on any vehicle. The thing is, I generally don't notice much of a boost. There are a few times where I can notice a speed difference. Like when I'm first accelerating and I use the boost, it gets me up to my highest speed faster. Or when I was doing the little go-kart racing, it really helped there. But for general traversal, I don't think it added anything to the game. There are a few other small issues, like anytime I call in to have a vehicle delivered, 90% of the time, it will be at least 100 meters away, up to 150 meters away, which doesn't help if I'm in need of a quick escape. Occasionally, it's right there and you have easy access to it, but often it's really far away. Then there was the time that my in-game radio disappeared and there was a nice little message saying, "There's no music playing, this is awkward." That was kind of an annoyance. And then I guess there was also the time when a trail that I was supposed to follow just kind of randomly appeared on the map, but led to nowhere important and had nothing to do with any of the missions I was on, and didn't disappear until I died. But in reality, none of those are major game-breaking glitches. I didn't really run into any of those. When it comes to the controls, as I mentioned earlier, the driving is much better in this game. I think the movement is much better. Quite frankly, the controls in general are really good. I don't always find some of them as natural as I would like, though. On the PS4, you press left or right to use either the RC car or the quadcopter drone. And for whatever reason, I didn't find that natural. I found myself often hitting left or right on the D-pad, hoping to switch to a specific gun. So I didn't like that I had to go into a menu to swap between guns. And it's a small menu. It's just you hold up on the D-pad and that opens your weapons and gadgets. But I would have rather quick access to my weapons than the RC drone. Overall, the controls did work pretty well, though. When it comes to the graphics, I think it's a very good looking game. There were a few times where I took screenshots just for the sake of taking screenshots because I was like, that's a beautiful image right there. There's a lot of neat things in the art style, like whenever you call in a vehicle, it'll be the vehicle that you called in, but it might be like a police version. It might have a big old spoiler on the back, different things like that. I didn't run into too many graphical glitches. There were 2 that I ran into. And at first I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. My car is floating when I called it in. What do you know? That's the first real glitch I ran into, graphically speaking. But then an hour later, like probably not even an hour later, I'm on a mission with the character Wrench, and I look behind me because he's stuck, and I'm like, oh, there's a floating wrench. Interesting. But other than that, I didn't run into any like horrific graphical glitches. At the end of the day, Watch Dogs 2 is worth full price. I fully recommend picking up this game. They definitely took the foundations that were in Watch Dogs 1 and then just enhanced it, turned it into the game that everybody was hoping for. Okay, so in the comments below, why don't you tell me if you're ever worried about, like, the kind of crap that happens in the show Black Mirror. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share, subscribe. Have a good one.